There is a country in the Himalayas where people think about death 5 times a day. Not in grief, not in fear, as a practice. And according to nearly every measure of human happiness, they are among the most content people on the planet. That country is Bhutan. And the rest of the world, the part that spends every waking hour avoiding even the thought of dying, is drowning in anxiety, distraction, and a quiet despair it cannot name. What if the thing you have been running from your entire life is the one thing that could actually set you free? Modern life is built on a single unspoken agreement. We do not talk about death. We do not think about death. We certainly do not sit with it. Instead, we scroll. We consume. We fill every silence with noise, every stillness with motion, every uncomfortable thought with another notification. The anthropologist Ernest Becker called this the denial of death. He argued that nearly everything we do, the careers we chase, the status we accumulate, the identities we construct, is an elaborate project to avoid one unbearable truth: that we are going to die. And it works, for a while. The busyness numbs us. The distractions keep the darkness at arm's length. But the cost of that avoidance is enormous, because when you refuse to look at death, you also refuse to look at life. Really look at it. You trade depth for speed. You trade meaning for productivity. And somewhere along the way, you forget what you were living for in the first place. A 2024 study published in the journal Psychological Science found that people who were asked to contemplate their own mortality reported significantly higher levels of gratitude, life satisfaction, and compassion for others. Not lower, higher. The researchers at the University of Kentucky found that people who thought about death afterward described feeling more alive, more present, and more connected to the people around them. Think about that for a moment. The very thing we spend our lives avoiding is the thing that makes life feel meaningful. The ancient world understood this. Every major wisdom tradition, across thousands of years and thousands of miles, arrived at the same conclusion independently. In ancient Rome, when a general returned victorious from battle, a slave would stand behind him in the chariot and whisper a single phrase: memento mori. Remember, you must die. Not as punishment, as protection. Against the arrogance that comes from believing your power, your youth, your success will last forever. In the Buddhist tradition, the practice is called maranasati, mindfulness of death. The Buddha himself taught that of all mindfulness meditations, the one on death is supreme. Monks in Southeast Asia have practiced it daily for over 2,500 years, not to become morbid, but to become awake. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day." He was not being dramatic. He was being practical. He knew that the person who remembers death wastes nothing. Not a conversation, not a morning, not a single chance to tell someone they matter. And here is where this gets really interesting. Modern science is now confirming what these traditions intuited centuries ago. Terror management theory, one of the most tested frameworks in social psychology, shows that when people are gently reminded of their mortality, something unexpected shifts. They become more generous, more compassionate, more willing to help strangers. A study published by the Society for Personality and Social Psychology found that mortality awareness led people to donate more time, more money, and even their own blood to blood banks. The researchers did not expect this. They expected fear. They expected withdrawal. Instead, they found openness. Because when the illusion of infinite time falls away, what remains is what actually matters. Not your inbox, not your follower count, not the promotion you have been chasing for 3 years. What remains is connection, presence, love. The things that were always there, buried under the noise. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master, put it beautifully. He said, It is not impermanence that makes us suffer. It is wanting things to be permanent when they are not. That single insight contains more peace than 1,000 self-help books. The suffering is not in the fact that things end. The suffering is in the pretending that they will not. And this is where the practice begins. Not with philosophy, not with theory, with one honest moment of recognition. You do not need to sit in a monastery. You do not need robes or incense or a mountaintop. You need 5 minutes and the courage to be still. The Dalai Lama has said that awareness of death is essential at every stage of your spiritual life. He practices death meditation daily, not once, multiple times. He has called it the single most powerful practice for making the right choices in life. When you forget death, he said, there is very little chance you will be inclined toward practice. Steve Jobs said something remarkably similar at Stanford in 2005. Remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. He said that almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, falls away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. So here is the practice. It is simple, and it will change the way you experience every single day that follows. Each morning, before you reach for your phone, before the world rushes in, sit for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and gently, without fear, acknowledge this truth. I will not live forever. This day is not guaranteed to me. This breath, right now, may be one of a finite number I have left. Do not push the feeling away. Do not intellectualize it. Just let it be there. Let it settle into your body the way morning light settles into a room. And then open your eyes. Notice what happens. Notice how the small things that usually consume you suddenly seem irrelevant. Notice how the people in your life suddenly seem more precious. Notice how the urge to scroll, to distract, to numb, starts to loosen its grip. This is not sadness, this is clarity. In Bhutan, they do not practice this to become sad. They practice it to be free. Free from the illusion that there is always more time. Free from the trap of postponing what matters. Free from the quiet lie that the things you accumulate will somehow protect you from the one thing no one escapes. Rumi, the 13th century Sufi poet, wrote, "Die before you die, and find that there is no death." He was not speaking about the body. He was speaking about the ego, the false self that hoards and compares and fears. When that self dissolves, even for a moment, what remains is the part of you that was never born and can never die. Presence, awareness, the stillness beneath the noise. And here is the paradox that every wisdom tradition points to. The people who think about death the most are the ones who are most alive. Not because they are morbid, but because they have stopped wasting time on things that do not matter. You do not need to move to Bhutan. You do not need to become a monk. You just need to stop running from the one truth that, once accepted, makes everything else fall into place. The noise will always be there. The notifications, the deadlines, the endless pull outward. But so will the silence. And in that silence, there is a question that has been waiting for you since the day you were born. If this were your last day, would you spend it the way you are spending today? Sit with that. Not as a threat, as a gift. Because the answer, whatever it is your compass. And it has been pointing home this entire time.